Meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners to order. As we do every month, we start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Martin, would you start us off with the pledge?
One-footed. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm pretty good at balancing on 1 foot now.
And will the clerk please take roll call attendance?
Commissioner Egan.
Yep.
Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McLean. And Chairman Shackleton.
Here. So we have a quorum and we'll proceed. Item number 4 is additions, deletions, and agenda approval. Are there any additions or deletions anybody would like to suggest, or should we approve it as presented?
That includes the new agenda.
Yeah, we do have an updated agenda, I presume everybody's working off of.
I would move that we accept the agenda as presented.
There is a motion and support to accept the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to the approval of the county board minutes. We have a regular board and workshop August 11th on page 1. Page 1. That's probably going to be page 1 in your first
I was gonna
packet.
say.
Yeah. There's no reason to reprint all that.
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported to approve the minutes of the regular board and workshop of August 11th, 2016. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to correspondence received in the clerk's office. That is on page 11. I'm presuming that, as usual, there is a wide variety of correspondence. And there is.
I don't have an agenda.
Hey Kelly, do you have an
Kelly?
extra copy of that?
You need the new one, the old one, or both,
Old one.
Commissioner?
Old one. Right.
Hold on, that's the old one right
Okay.
Yeah,
there.
here. Do you need
Okay,
one?
then.
Where's that?
You still need it?
I don't know. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. Same thing.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
doesn't
this is a
have,
new one here.
We're good.
Well, it doesn't have the end room return.
That's okay. We're good. Thank you.
We're still on item 6, correspondence.
Page 11. I already gone through this.
So we forward, or I make a motion we forward the appropriate offices.
Or
Motion made and supported. The correspondence received in the clerk's office be acknowledged and forwarded as appropriate. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to public comments. Anybody who'd like to speak under public comments, this is your opportunity. We have the podium, or if you want to walk up to one of these tables, that's just good too, but come on up and start off by letting us know who you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Ellen Benoit and my husband Terry Benoit. We have some property in Raver Township, and last month some citizens came and presented at the public comment about last month. Our adjacent property was sold to a commercial septic hauler and has been permitted to land apply septage in our site. And we felt that it was what the MDEQ representative called an unfortunate situation, because the septic hauler is allowed to choose a field where he thinks it is appropriate, and then he applies. And this particular piece and what he applied for wasn't eligible, but did not get reviewed by the MDEQ, or if they did, they didn't care. So under our protest and our neighbors' protest, we were able to apply for a well permit and we were able to submit it. We received it within 3 days, which usually takes 1 to 2 weeks. And in that process, before they approved that initial permit, he, with our submission of the well permit, it changed his application to be modified to the injection method instead of surface application and then tilling. So it is a safer method, and it now falls within his property, lines. But we're still concerned because in researching the information and checking into the background of the information, we found out that this particular septic hauler's father-in-law is retired from the MDEQ. He works at the Drummond Island Resort. The wife works at the Drummond Island Resort, and we've heard the Drummond Island Resort's on-site septic waste facility is failing, and the required certified waste technician has retired. So apparently this is their solution to not hiring another certified waste technician or fixing their failing system. It's just to, export it off the island, and we think that that is absolutely wrong. Mackinac Island does not send their tourism business, waste generated from their tourism business over to the mainland, and we feel that Drummond Island Township, if they're going to promote their tourism and bring in all these tourists, that they need to handle their waste and not by sending it to another township in their downtown district. Unfortunately for us, there's no local controls or policies in place either at the township level or at the county level, but there can be. And also, there are facilities, waste treatment facilities within the county that could become receiving facilities. And so that's why we're here, asking you to help us with this issue, either by adopting some local policies regarding this issue, treating it the same as the solid waste issue, looking at studying what's available in the county. I mean, there's lots of agricultural land available, so why this little residential field in a residential area was chosen as the site, we don't understand. But we feel that if there was some policies in place at the county level, that even a local review of the permit would have helped, or local monitoring of this waste facility by the health department, because the state monitors this Drummond Island Resort, and it's the same person that issued this permit. So there's no local control, no local monitoring, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants. Where there's grazing restrictions on, cows or something, there's not for deer. So we're deer hunters. There's other people that hunt and eat their deer, and so there's no restrictions on that. We just, we feel like we're on top of a hill, and there's groundwater and springs that run right to the St. Mary's River. So eventually it's going to get there. It's just a matter of time. And now the burden is placed on us, the innocent people who are doing nothing, to make sure our water is clear and free by, having tests on. And we just are asking for our county to help us get some regulations in place, either by authorizing your local planning agency to do some studies. And I've also done a little bit of research on different zoning that is in place or policies that are in place around the state. There's no reason why our waste receiving facilities couldn't accept this. I mean, there's many across the state, so Newberry does it. So I'm just wondering why that couldn't be our first step. Just say, yeah, the waste should go at a waste receiving facility, and then that could protect within a 25-mile radius of that facility, the land. And then, if on top of that, we already have capacity, we don't need more little pocket parks because we already have capacity with the existing land facilities in Barbeau and Kinross Township. So we're just asking that the county would at least look into research the alternatives to open up some discussions with the municipalities that have the waste treatment facilities to find out what would it take to open the doors up, especially Detour Village. When I've talked to them, they mentioned that their liner, they might need a new liner. It's going to cost $1 million. So there's issues out there, and they're public health issues. And I think together, or the Regional Planning Agency could research some policies and stuff, and hopefully open some discussions and look for grant sources or loan or funding sources that could, whatever needs to be done to open up these facilities and to work with the issues. But so
Thank you.
our request. Thank you.
Yeah, we hear you. I think I'm sure some commissioners will want to probably comment on your situation at the when we get to general comments. We'll try to do our I'll try to do a little better on our public comment and keep it just public comment, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end, and perhaps a few folks would like to talk with you personally about it as well. So, anyone else under public comment would like to speak today?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, staff. My name's Oliver Turner. As you know, I'm the city manager for the city of Sault Ste. Marie. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you for your consideration of the Tax Tribunal and Appeal Joint Defense Agreement. As the commissioners are aware, the protests that have been lodged at the Michigan Tax Tribunal by large commercial enterprises that have taken advantage of what's called the dark store theory of property valuation are a serious concern across the state of Michigan, and particular concerning locally. And within the past weeks and days, myself, Mr. German, we've been discussing the basic contours of this agreement. And really what my perspective is that it's an opportunity for the county as well as the city to collaborate in making sure that from a local standpoint that we're promoting equity in taxation, that we're protecting our taxable values that help us deliver effective public services, and really helps us advocate well at the Michigan Tax Tribunal level. So the agreement that's been included within the packets, it's something that, as I mentioned, both the city and county have been in discussions with. The calculations within the agreement, I know that they verge anywhere between 30 and 40% as to a potential cost-sharing arrangement. That's something that I know we've been in discussions with county staff. They've been very helpful. And I know that needs a little further refinement, but we're certainly looking forward to any collaboration or partnership that the county would like to engage with the city in. And this agreement would be particular to the tax tribunal case that involves Walmart. And from a policy standpoint, I know that the city and the county have been very aggressive in reaching out to their legislators, trying to make sure that appropriate legislation is adopted to address this. Now, whether that's adopted this fall, prior to lame duck or during lame duck, I think there's a question about that, and I'm not necessarily confident in that, but I'm very hopeful that will happen yet. But this agreement, I feel, represents our best efforts to collectively promote equity in taxation, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions. Aside from the other collaborations that the city and county maintain together, I just wanted to again thank you for your consideration of this agreement. And one of the things I would note within the agreement, it does reference the 1% administrative fee, and what that pertains to is the administrative collection fee that the city maintains over all taxing units. So under the parameters of the agreement, the city would contribute the first approximately $3,000 to defense cost moving forward from the date of the execution of the agreement, after which any cost sharing type of percentages would become effective.
Thank you. I think this is on the agenda, and I think we can just get to the agenda item and discuss it, and if you're nearby and we really have a question that we need to have you address, we'll grab you then.
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Oliver. Anyone else under public comment care to speak? This is your opportunity.
It is my understanding that there is a board member or two that have been inquiring about the sheriff's office forfeiture fund. And since no commissioner has actually come and asked the sheriff or myself about this, I thought I would give you a little rundown on how the system actually works. First, there has to be a felony level drug investigation. If during that investigation items are seized under the Forfeiture Act, they are all listed in the criminal complaint. This criminal complaint is ultimately reviewed by the prosecutor's office. Just because an item is seized under forfeiture does not mean the suspect automatically loses their rights to it. It is called due process. The suspect is given 20 days to decide if they want to have a civil hearing in front of the circuit court judge or not. Final disposition of items seized are often resolved by suspects deciding not to have a hearing. And oftentimes items such as vehicles are bought back by suspects. They're offered back at a reduced rate, saves them money, and it saves us time and money to send it to an auction. Chippewa County is very lucky to have an assistant prosecutor who came from a state-run drug team. Prosecutor Robinson has legal training and expertise in our drug forfeiture laws, and he was the primary prosecutor for a state-run drug team prior to coming to Chippewa County. We often rely on his expertise whenever there is a question about forfeiture and its associated paperwork. Chippewa County is also lucky to have many of our own sheriff's deputies who have been on a drug team with training and several years of experience. Our detective sergeant is in charge of all of our forfeiture funds, including forfeiture money and equipment coming in as seized, forfeiture items sent to auction, money coming in from an auction, and any equipment donated to schools after the forfeiture process is completed as allowed by state law, which we have done. Annual reports are submitted by our detective sergeant to the state of Michigan as prescribed by the state law. Forfeiture account budget requests are sent to this board annually for the authorization to spend that forfeiture money. State law allows police agencies to spend forfeiture funds for any law enforcement needs, including equipment, drug teams, buy money, etc. If the board as a whole would like to see how this system works, I would offer to show perhaps the board president. After presenting this, he could relay his findings back to all of you. With no complaints coming to us, I can't help but wonder why an anonymous commissioner would want to start rumors. To insinuate there is something wrong with our forfeiture fund with no basis insults all of our road division, our detective's office, and the prosecutor's office, which reviews all of these reports. Not to mention these reports all go through a legal system, and we have yet to have a judge refer to any of our seizures as illegal. Our sheriff's office is very conservative when it comes to seizing items from people, as it is a very touchy subject. There are over 70 laws which we can seize property from people under a forfeiture. We currently use two. One is a drug forfeiture law, and one is child pornography, where we forfeit their computers. So in the future, if you have a question, I would ask that you just please come ask us. The sheriff's office and all of our employees are committed to serving the people of this county, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Under Sheriff Bittner. Anyone else care to speak under public comments? Seeing no more, I will close public comments. Move to the next agenda item, which is Administrator's Report. Administrator German.
Well, I gave my full packet to Mr. Martin over there, but
I sent it back.
I will say there are the various reports there. Plus there's a couple of items from Noggin and other places on that. And
Here, you want this?
you'll see is some information from Crawford County on the scene to meet
G.
Some new EPA regulations from the Sixth County Employment Alliance, and a letter from Ontonagon County on letter of support for the White Pine Power Plant. In addition to that, we will be starting negotiations with corrections officers in the next 2 weeks. And I will be inviting a member of the Personnel Committee to those negotiations. The county right now is in a tight spot, as all counties are, and they prove to be rough negotiations. And that's my report, sir.
Thank you. Move to old business. We do not have any itemized items under old business. So we would move to item 10, which is new business. First is a letter of support to Three Shores Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area. That is on page 33. And it is just a letter of support. Does anybody need to speak on it, to introduce it, Mr. German or Kelly? No?
It's roughly the same.
It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yes, it's roughly the same as last year. It's just kind of an update.
I'll move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve and that I sign this letter of support to the Three Shores Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. Resolution 1620 is opting out of PA 152 healthcare requirements. This is where the state of Michigan passed a law that we are required to have all employees pay 20% of their health insurance. And because shortly before that law was passed, we actually modified our insurance so that their participation in co-pays and deductibles had already increased, so this would have been a double hit. So we have opted out of it as the legislation permits. But you need to do it annually. And here we are again where it's time to do it. I do need a
I
motion.
would support
Okay.
resolution 1620 opting out of Public Act 152.
I'll support.
Okay, there's a motion made and supported that we opt out. As it is a resolution, we will need a roll call vote on this, please.
Commissioner Egan,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Aye.
and Chairman Shackleton.
Yes, so that passes. We move to letter of support to the DNR multi-use trail. That is on page 36. I think this is rather self-explanatory as well. Does anybody need to introduce it to Mr. German or talk about it?
The Hunters Club, as you'll see, is all signed off. That should be in your packet. There is one piece of the land that's being sold, and I was assured by the DNR that that person has agreed to also accept what the DNR is trying to accomplish. There is a signature on one of the pieces that the current owner has signed and the new owner will go along with. I did not receive the final piece of paper from the new owner, but was assured by the DNR that everything is copacetic.
All right, so that is the issue before us. Is there any action that anybody'd like to propose?
Do we need a motion on this? Or
Yes, we do, sir.
I'd make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion made and supported that we approve and that I sign on behalf of the county this letter in support of the multi-use trails that we've been discussing and that this letter addresses. Is there any further discussion on it? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to standing committee reports. We have one standing committee report, and that is,
Kelly's.
sorry?
He's right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I switched over to the old one, and Okay, we go back to, new business, item D, this is the tax tribunal and appeal joint defense agreement that, Mr. Turner was here to address. This was originally under the finance committee, so I think I would send it over to Commissioner Martin as the chair of finance for, you to introduce this item to us.
Basically, it's an agreement to, work together cooperatively with the city to, promote tax equity. We are looking square in the face if things fall as they are of, losing revenue permanently, up to and exceeding probably $200,000 a year. We're looking at writing a check quite possibly to Walmart in excess of $250,000. And that money, and by we I mean governmental entities in Chippewa County. There was success in Escanaba, fighting against Menards, and I'm guessing that's exactly where we're headed, is trying to fight what I feel is a very, it's a loophole you can drive a Mack truck through, and it looks like litigation is our only path forward, as the state senate continues to drag its feet, in spite of the fact that the House approved this overwhelmingly, 98 to 7 or something. But anyhow, I strongly recommend that we move forward in partnership with the city and anybody else who wants to help make sure that everybody pays their fair share of taxes, because that's all we're asking for. We're not asking for an increase or anything. We're just asking they pay their fair share, like all the rest of us have to.
And again, the city has asked that we would join them in a cooperative venture of this lawsuit, and we are kind of still nailing down the exact number, but our share of the lawsuit would be somewhere between 30 and 39%. And what I would suggest is that, in the interest of timeliness, that nothing is held up, that we approve the administrator to negotiate a rate within that range that makes sense for us to participate with the city on in this. And that would be I think the motion that I would be hoping for.
Okay.
And then for the chair to sign the agreement.
Yeah, and to proceed with the agreement.
I'll make that motion.
Support.
Motion is made and there is support, so the motion is on the floor. Under discussion, I guess I want to add to what Commissioner Martin said. I think that the people in our communities, and certainly the people involved in government in our communities, welcome the investment of new stores, new retail opportunities like the Meijers coming in and the Walmart, but they also have to contribute to the tax base. And unfortunately right now, through this dark store issue, you know, they're not really paying their fair share when they take advantage of this dark store way of having their property valued. So I think that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're hoping to solve with this lawsuit. So, anyone else?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, you know, it's very important that we have a representative from the media, but it's very important that this get picked up and pushed along, that it's not just a local issue. This is a state issue, and we need to make sure everybody pushes it, because it's not just us that's facing this, it's Emmett County, which has a large number of box stores. It's gonna hurt all of us, and it's gonna hurt every single person in this room, because you're gonna have to make up the taxes that they won't pay. So it's important that you talk about it as much as you can and make sure that everybody knows that it's not fair what they're doing to us.
They've already taken over $10 million through this dark store loophole. And while our schools will be held harmless via the Constitution, the $126,000 is going to come out of the school aid fund to replace. So that's going to make the school aid fund even smaller, It's gonna hurt every school district in the state. It's already hurting every school district in the state. You just don't see it because Sioux schools will be reimbursed that money. The ISD will be reimbursed, but it's gonna make the pie a lot smaller. So as we move forward, that school aid fund gets smaller and smaller and smaller as by constitutional decree, they must replace that money that is taken, and it's just that we just don't have the tax base here. There are other places that can absorb these losses because they might have a manufacturing base or something like. We just don't have that here. It is an attack on all the services that we provide, from the sheriff's department to the health department to the schools. Everybody's going to suffer here, and that money will leave our community and go to their corporate office.
Never
Understand,
come back.
these checks will be written to these corporations, and that money is leaving town.
It's not going to be reinvested in more jobs. It's not going to be reinvested in new facilities. It's going back to the corporate mothership. So,
We have motion on the floor. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, vote aye.
Alright.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. So that takes care of your, but I'm sure you wanna stay and watch the rest of the meeting, Oliver. This is where it gets really good. Commissioner Martin, finance claims and accounts.
I
You can
can't
give us
find
a
my
report.
page.
you need finance.
Finance. It said I think it was gonna be handed out here. You know?
It was in the new packet. that I
Oh,
sent.
here,
It was in that new smaller.
Yep, right here.
have you got it?
Oh, you hit it in a new small packet.
Yeah, here, you have it?
There we go.
Okay.
No,
Right towards the back.
gosh. Is this Monday again?
Here,
There we go.
got it? Okay.
All right. Regular meeting of the Chippewa County Board of Commissioners Finance Claims and Accounts Committee was held on Thursday, September 2nd at the Chippewa County Courthouse, Sault Ste. Marie. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 with a quorum present. Myself, Commissioner Shackleton, Commissioner Egan, and Commissioner Johnson were there. Commissioner McLean was absent. Others present were Jim German, our County Administrator, Under Sheriff Bittner, Margie Hank, Lana Forrest, and Kelly Church. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Egan to approve the agenda, and that carried. There was no public comment offered. We did receive monthly travel reports, visa statements, and MERS update, and potential breakdown of legal costs for city and county to join parties to the dark store. The Walmart issue. We then began agenda items, judge services through October 31st. We are essentially going to pay $100 per day to keep Judge Johnson on the bench here. The state is essentially going to pick up the rest of that cost. Consequently, it was moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to approve the extension of judge services to Judge Harold Johnson through October 31st, 2016, at the county's cost of $100 per day. The judge sits on the bench. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Motion is made and supported that we approve the extension of judgeship services to Judge Johnson at a cost of $100 per day. Is there discussion on that motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then looked at Administrator German's travel desk knob in Lansing, where we did fix that typo, correct?
Oh, on the
On,
money.
on the money. Got a very good rate on a hotel. We had some fun with that. Sorry, you had to be there. But anyhow, we went ahead and approved that travel. Moved by Commissioner Shackleton, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve that with the noted change that saved the county money. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion is made and supported that we approve the administrator's travel to Escanaba and Lansing. Is there any further discussion on that? All in favor, vote aye.
All right.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Then we discussed the self-retention fund falling below 50,000 because, quite frankly, there's been a lot of litigation that we've been subject to. As such, we've dropped below our minimum level, and as such, we will have to make a payment of $36,000. compliance with the MMRMA's policy. After much discussion and consternation, it was moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Egan, to approve the invoice provided by MMRMA in the amount of $36,000 to correct the county's compliance with the member financial responsibility policy established by MMRMA, and to approve a budget amendment for this payment on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pay $36,000 to bring our MMRMA balance back up to what it's required to be. Is there further discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then discussed at length storage for Sheriff's Department equipment, increasing to $300 per month. We also looked at renewing the lease with the EDC for Central Dispatch Center, a 3% increase to $28,132. While we don't like the increase for the storage, quite frankly, $300 a month is not a lot of money for all that space. However, with the Central Dispatch Center, we are taking a look at maybe changing the way we do this next year. Came up with some very good ideas, which the administrator and his assistant will help us with in 10 or 11 months. But for now, it was moved by Commissioner Shackman, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the letter of understanding between the Chippewa County Sheriff Department and Chippewa County Economic Development Corporation for the rental of building number 234 for equipment storage in the amount of $300 per month for the period of December 1st, 2016 through November 30th, 2017, and to approve the lease extension between Chippewa County Central Dispatch Center and Chippewa County Economic Development Corporation for the lease of 3,413 square feet of building number 432, a 5-year extension running from January 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2021 for an annual rental payment of $28,123.12. Total lease amount on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
All right, motion. That motion was to renew the lease with the EDC for Sheriff Storage and the Central Dispatch Center. Is there any further discussion on it? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Also, we wanted to authorize supplemental animal control service of the city of Sault Ste. Marie. Long story short, we want to streamline the process, make things more efficient in both paperwork and with the animal control officer checking in as an ACO of the city or the county with hopes of more time for response calls. In other words, less paperwork, less bureaucracy, more time on the job. After a short discussion, it was moved by Commissioner Shackman, supported by Commissioner Egan, to authorize administration to negotiate and finalize the contract for supplemental animal control services, City of Sault Ste. Marie and Chippewa County on a voice vote. That motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported for another cooperative venture with the City of Sault Ste. Marie. This one on supplemental animal control services. And the administrator is going to negotiate and finalize the details. But we've been doing this for many years. So, is there further discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We also wanted to purchase body cameras, go with our current system. Digital Ally, from Digital Ally for $6,500, a line item transfer. After presentation by Under Sheriff Bittner, explained to us that this was the best route to go. They've already tried these units, well, one unit out. It works very well. It's compatible with our computer system. It's I think going to help with the litigation problem, because these cameras, in fact, Under Sheriff Bittner even said that one person backed off on exactly that after he found out that everything had been recorded. Anyhow, we got a RAP grant from MMRMA, we're going to try to get a RAP grant from MMRA to help fund this, but if not, it is simply a line item transfer from 301-742. Long story short, gas prices going down means we have more money to protect our officers and protect our county. Consequently, it's moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to approve the purchase from Digital Ally in the amount of $6,440 for 8 First View high-definition chest camera 11-inch kits and 8 First View HD DVR with standard battery kits, and to waive the county's purchasing policy. On a voice vote, that motion carried. And I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported.
No, you got me.
Quick,
That-
quick point here.
Let me just go
Oh, I'm
finish,
sorry.
finish it. That made and supported that we purchase 8 body cams for the sheriff's department, through a transfer of, the gas oil maintenance fund.
I just wanted to explain the reason why we're waiving the policy is because, the bid policy is because these units already tie into our entire computer system. We don't have to buy new computers. It ties right into the computers in the cars. It's gonna save us time, it's gonna save us money. So that's why we waived that policy.
Any other, discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye?
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Register of Deeds, Sharon Kennedy reviewed a scanning project of older documents, told us that, these, these books that are ours are being stored in Mackinac County in a garage type, place, for free. And, we,
Nothing's free.
well, for free, so that the person who's storing them can use them
Yeah.
in his business. But we really need to, while those books are still legible, because they are old, and by old we're talking over 100 years old. We need to scan those and get those into our records. We also discussed maybe somehow getting some of them into museums and stuff. I mean, these books are really are historical treasures, that I'd like to see stored maybe in a little safer place. But we'll tackle that issue down the road. But we're gonna get these things all scanned at a price of $56,897.80. And it needs to be done sooner rather than later, which is why we're moving so quickly with this. It was moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Shackland, to approve the scan deed, books 1 through 190, scan 52 index books, and scan 2 patent books at an estimated cost of $56,897.80 to be paid to U.S. Imaging Incorporated to waive the county's purchasing policy, schedule the project, and approve the necessary budget amendment as Fund 256, RODS Technology Fund, from which the project will be paid from. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we approve $56,897 to scan in all these deed books. Is there further discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
Next thing we had was EUP Regional Planning requesting the county be applicant pass-through for MEDC's the EUP Transportation Logistics Strategy Grant application. We basically are going to be the ones where the money is gonna go from what, from the state to
This is a pass.
an entity. I mean, it's not gonna cost us anything, there's no liability financially or otherwise. And we did get clarification on that, I believe, in an email, so we're set to go. So, I would move this forward. It was moved by Commissioner Shackman, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to table the request until clarifications could be sought. On a voice vote, that motion carried, so where are we
You can
going
now
with this?
make a different motion.
So, I would like to move then that we move forward with this request now that we have that clarification.
So the motion is that we approve the request for the county to be an applicant, be the applicant and pass through. Is there any, for this MEDC EUP Transportation Logic Strategy Grant application? Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Alright,
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
alright, we then reviewed audit services bid summary, 3 were received. Anderson, Tackman and Company, was, we don't really have the amounts here, but, they were, slightly above, what the low bid was, which was Gabbard and Company from Grand Rapids, Michigan. That bid included 25% discount based on the county's 12/31 fiscal year end. Concerns regarding intangibles of professional services, as well as additional services, which are currently at no charge from Anderson, Tackman and Company, were discussed, as well as the potential additional hours and services that could be necessary from county staff should a new firm be approved. discussion in keeping county monies in the county's address, as well as having fresh eyes for these services on the other side of that ledger. So we have a local entity who wants our business, and we have an entity from Grand Rapids with a lower bid that wants our business, and we locked on this 2-2.
Commissioner, we,
Where are we gonna go with
well,
this?
we
Mr.
tied
Eva.
on it, and we can either do another vote. I think we anticipated that we would have an odd number here tonight. Unfortunately, we don't. So we can either just table it, or if you wanna vote again, I think I know what the outcome is, and then we can table it. But I think it'd be one or the other. But I think, you know, unless someone's changed their mind on how they wanna vote on this. So I would leave it up to you, Commissioner, if you wanna either call for a vote or table it.
I think we should call for a vote first, and
Okay.
then, so, it was moved by Commissioner Johnson, supported by Commissioner Hagan, to approve the low bid of $77,980 from Gabbard and Company for audit services for fiscal years 2016, 2017, and 2018. On a voice vote, that motion was tied, therefore I would move that we vote again, to see if anyone's changed their vote.
Okay.
And
Support.
from there.
Yeah, so, in this case, you're gonna make the motion, and,
That we revote.
pardon me?
That we revote.
Yeah, well, you're making the motion that we approve the low bid, which is.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Even though you may not support it, you know,
Right.
you're still free to vote yea or nay on it, so. The motion is on the floor, and that is to approve the low bid, from Gaybridge and Company for audit services. And is there any discussion on the motion?
Like I said,
I just wanted to point out, usually, I'm all about getting a low bid. I think in this case, it being professional services, I think there's, some intangibles of a continuity of services. They know what they've looked at already, they know what to look for next time that they haven't looked at before. They've been very cooperative in any time we have questions, they give us the answers for free throughout the year. I think there's value in staying with the one that we have. And I just wanna explain that that's why I'm supporting the bid that's not the low bid, so.
I'm supporting a bid that's not low bid, cause I wanna keep county taxpayer dollars in the county, if at all possible, if it's prudent, and I think in this case it is.
Anyone else, do you wanna comment?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll just say that, auditing is not supposed to be easy nor fun. It's important to have fresh set of eyes go over these things. And Chairman Shackleton spoke about knowing what they've gone over and what they haven't gone over. An auditing firm should look at past audits and already know those kinds of things. And they should also do it differently, so it's not the same routine year in and year out. When you do something the same way over and over again, you tend to have the same results. When you change it up, then sometimes you get different results, and sometimes those results can be helpful for everyone. We don't know that this company, Gaybridge and Company from Grand Rapids, won't give us those same services that Anderson Tackman does, those ancillary services for free. I also am a big proponent of, where's my word? I'm looking for my word. Free market. This is a chance to get Anderson Tackman maybe to come back 3 years from now with a lower bid, and then, it keeps everyone honest.
And maybe we could ask Administrator German to, talk to this company in Grand Rapids, say, okay, if we have a problem and we call you, you're gonna start, you're gonna start cha-ching,
Sure.
cha-ching, cha-ching. I mean,
Right.
so we can compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges.
we
In this case, because one of the things is we call them up, boom, they give us an answer, they don't charge us a dime. Will these folks in Grand Rapids do the same thing? And then, we can move forward with this issue.
Okay. Well, we can't do that right this moment. but
Exactly.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? And the motion is to approve the bid from Gaybridge and Company. So all in favor, vote aye. If you're opposed, vote nay.
Nay?
I'm a nay, so we're tied on this one again. Fortunately, it's not a big deal that this get done right away. We're talking about next year's audit services, so it's fine, or, well, actually, the next potential 3 years audit services. So, we'll resolve this at a future meeting, and that's okay. So, the
I need to
motion
make a motion
failed,
to table?
and you don't have to table it, the motion failed.
Okay.
Just means everybody has to come back to see the outcome.
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger.
All right, next we wanted to release the RFQs, basically bids for snow plowing and removal for the courthouse, county animal control and 911, retiree healthcare actuarial for fiscal year 2017, which includes the HD and EDC. Moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson, to release the RFQs for snow plowing and removal, retiree healthcare actuarial, and copier. And a copier following the replacement schedule. On a voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Motion is made and supported that we release these requests for quotes for snow plowing, retiree healthcare actuarial, and a copier. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then reviewed the bills and payroll. As such, it was moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Shackleton, to recommend the approval of July bills and payroll as follows. The general claims totaling $224,969.96. Other fund claims of $310,889.35. Payroll of $451,044.40. Health Department claims of $451,641.22. For total claims of $1,438,544.93. And vouchers H1 through H269. A voice vote, that motion carried, and I would so move.
Support.
Motion made and supported that we pay all of those claims and vouchers. Is there discussion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries.
We then discussed Blue Cross Blue Shield renewal, increase of 2.78%, which is phenomenal. We, though, unfortunately discussed our BCBS through 44 North, and Blue Cross Blue Shield did not want to or would not back that product as a switch to the Medicare Advantage plan, which would have caused an increase of over 11%. Discussion followed, and we didn't really do anything with it because, well, we're not in it yet, so, and we're not going to. And we had comments of myself waiving the purchasing policy. I'm kind of tired of hearing that, but every time it's been with a just cause. We adjourned the meeting, moved by Commissioner Egan, supported by Commissioner Johnson. And I would then move that we accept the minutes as presented.
There's a motion made and supported that we accept the Finance Claims and Accounts Committee meeting minutes of September 22nd. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, vote nay. Motion carries. We move to item 12, Commissioner report on meetings as board representative and general comments from commissioners.
I'll take Don's place and go first. How about that?
Okay?
There you go.
Big shoes to fill. A couple of things. The Michigan Department of Corrections liaison meeting was canceled due to the, I don't know what to call it because it's been called multiple things in the media, which was very disappointing to me because it was a riot. Yeah, we're gonna go with word riot. It was very, very disappointing to me that they didn't allow us from the community to go and find out what was happening in our community. It was disappointing that they did that. Next, I'd just like to address a few of the things that were said about by Mr. and Mrs. Benoit. I understand your frustration completely. There isn't a lot of recourse with this, and there should be some sort of recourse. The parties that were responsible for the land sale and the purchase of the land could have been more responsible in picking their field to start this new business. There are a few facts in your statement that I'd like to go over with you. Like the father-in-law is retired from MDEQ. I know that's not true. He's never worked for the state of Michigan. He's a small business owner. Not a big fan of the guy, but that being said, I know for sure he's never worked for the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. So, please stick around, I'll talk to you afterwards, we'll see if we can't get something done.
Anyone else?
I saw though, in going through there, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, I'm sure Administrator German can check with legal, but generally speaking, if we were to pass some sort of legislation, they would have to be grandfathered in. However, they had something in here that said that by using our police power, our legislative police power, that we could do away with grandfathering. I find that terribly difficult to believe that we can make these people remove it if they've had that. I also find it difficult to believe that we can do anything more stringently, regulation-wise, as a state. In fact, they have bent over backwards to not allow local entities to control their own regulations in a lot of ways. So I don't know where we go with this. It is a horrible wrong what has been done. And if there's any way to fix it that we can afford to do, I'd say we absolutely have to. It sounds like you guys got snookered somehow, some way, by somebody who is very well connected. And I don't know if there's anything we can do. I wouldn't want it by my.
In a 1.5 acre area.
I wouldn't want it by my cabin, let alone my house where I live. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine. We looked at a place by the dump when we were looking for a cabin. And it just I can't imagine septic would be so much worse.
It's terrible.
I don't like I said, I don't know what we can do, but Administrator German and Mrs. Church, they are the know-all be-alls of this, and if there's a way, they'll find a way. I can't make you any promises. I can't tell you we'll do anything, but we'll do anything that we can legally to do something with this. I just feel helpless. We're just twisting in the wind, and we're elected to help you guys, and I know Commissioner Egan is very aware of this situation.
Yeah, not happy about it either.
And who's going to be next? Who's got property outside the city?
It could happen to me.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen to any one of us that live in a non-zone rural area. So, which
Anything
I'm
else,
sure there's a
Commissioner
lot of you out there that are in that situation.
Rudy, do you have anything?
Kind of on a different note, I just left the Veterans Affairs meeting, finally got our, committee set up. I don't know what we're gonna call it yet, but it's a committee that, Heather, Frank, Irene Lawless, and Deb Jones, Jackie from the Veterans, and, a lady named Nancy, I don't know her last name, but they've been, had cans out for the veterans that people are donating to, so there's money that's in a kitty to help the veterans that fall through the cracks, peacetime veterans that might need a light bill paid or something. And we're having our first meeting October 4th, and I guess I didn't get this going as fast as I wanted to, but we are making progress, and it's gonna be a good thing. There'll be a place for people to make donations, and Debbie Jones with the Community Foundation will be where the money goes into a pot. The veteran may come to one of us or to Jackie, tell us what their needs are, and then once the veterans eliminate all the resources that, where there's no funding to help this person, they can come to us and we can help them. There's a lot of veterans that just don't fit into a certain spot where they can get help, and this is gonna help a lot of them. They've already helped quite a few, but we're organizing it better now, and I guess I'm kind of excited to have our first meeting and to get it up and running. And that's about it.
Sounds great.
Thanks, Rudy.
And I want to speak just real quick on the Benoits as well. Ellen, you have some good information and ideas, I think, about our planning department, the health department, and possibly the county being involved as well. And I'd like to see a meeting with the planning department and the health department and the county administrator to talk about whether there's actions that we need to take as far as adopting any additional ordinances or policies that are enforceable. I think that Commissioner Martin's right. I doubt that anything we do will make them, you know, make it go away. But it can certainly govern the operation of it, I believe, you know, on how you're operating a site like that. And we certainly want to be reasonable in dealing with them as well, but we have to look at the rest of the county and say, you know, if this happened once, this could happen again, and maybe we need to explore and take advantage of some of this information you brought forth. So I would ask the administrator to put together something with the planning department and the health department to talk about whether it makes sense and look at some of these things other townships and counties are doing and seeing if there's something that we should be proceeding with as well.
I got one more
That's
comment,
all
I guess, on that.
Go ahead.
I used to have a septic business, and I was restricted, to where I could dump, and I dumped surface there. But it had to be a 10-acre piece of property, and I had two chunks of land myself, and then one of my neighbors, got a permit too. But if I was going to dump in Paradise, I would have to get a permit to dump, and it had to be 10 acres or more property. You just couldn't dump on 1 acre. And then you were restricted how many gallons you could dump. So I don't know, evidently these people, they know more people than I did, because I'd be real careful with what I do with my septic.
Well, again, I think that the best solution for us to be involved is perhaps what I outlined with the planning department and the health department and some help with the administrator as well to take a look at what we can and should do for the future. I think. Hope you agree. Anyone else, anything? Then we're on item 13.
I move we adjourn.
I will support that.
Motion made and supported that we adjourn. All in favor, vote aye.
Right?
Please adjourn.
We're all gonna vote no one thing.
Yeah, you see how long you can stay here? I'll vote with you on that one. Just because.
If it's a 2-2 tie, do we have to stay here?
Yes, absolutely.
No, I think in reality.